Hey, what's up? This is your girl Diamond. How are you? Let's talk about the shit that's going on, child. Mm. We're gonna talk about hashtag Stop Asian Hate. It started with the attack in Atlanta that killed about 8 people. We're gonna talk about racism. We're gonna talk about white terror. We're gonna talk about everything that's going on. Hey, y'all. Hey, Stephanie. Mother Sunshine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Brandon. Hey, Reggie. Hey, Special K. Hey, Darnell. How are y'all doing today? Oh, where's my phone? Where did I put my phone? Okay, Google. What's the current weather? It must not be close to me. That's how I find it. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Ray. So much going on. So much going on. Finishing up my vacation. Unfortunately, are you? I go on vacation on the 11th, so I'm on the 11th of April. So I got a little bit, almost a month. Hey, Bruha. So I'm excited about that. But other than that, I am good. Like everything is pretty amazing right now. Oh, before we get started, just so y'all know, um, let me do my customary share. So I have an art initiative that I am starting. Here is the GoFundMe. So I'm trying to start a facility. I'm thinking of it. I don't know how to explain this, but basically anything that have to do with the arts, like creative arts, whether it be content like podcasting or like YouTubing, or like music, visual arts, performances, showcases, and shit like that. I want to create a space where I can showcase artists in our community, whether it be trans, lesbian, queer, similar to something like a teeny desk, um, where I can fly them in, they can come in, and I can actually record them doing their thing, showcasing their talent. That's just kind of like on the music side, but also people in the city who want to be able to start their own podcast, who want to be able to need a location to exhibit their work. I also want to start like a hangout, like a really consistent hangout spot for queer, trans, LGBT people, where we have events, we showcase films, like new film. There's tons. I get in my email, I get tons of invites to films, and like before they even come out, because especially particularly ones that are, because I'm a content creator and I review shows and da da da. I get all of these like film invites to be able to go watch films. I would love to have a facility where they can come to me and and we show their film from filmmakers. So I want to be able to create a spot like that, because I feel like as an organizer, I'm the executive director of a nonprofit. My life revolves, so even what y'all hear me talking about here, my life revolves around um, creating survival mechanisms for, you know, Black trans women, Black women, queer people all together. I'm always, when you grant writing, if you're a grant writer out there, you know, you're always explaining a part of your, it's like your narrative. You're explaining your trauma, the researching your trauma. You're talking about deaths. If you're on a panel, you're talking about, oh, the question everybody asking, what can we do to stop the Black trans women from dying? Everything I do, it revolves around our oppression, our disparity, our trauma. And I feel in my particular life that I would not survive this shit. I would not be able to deal with this shit if I didn't have the opposite end. If I didn't have the work that I do that is revolved around my joy, the shit that makes me happy, music, art, artists, any type of entertainment, my podcast collective of friends, hearing them, and this shit is what sustains me. This shit is what makes me not go fucking crazy being caught up in the sadness of a fucking trans woman being killed every fucking day. It is music. It is other YouTubers. It is podcasts. It is people who actually create content for me to consume and love myself as a Black person, love myself as a queer person, love myself as a woman, love myself in all these things. If I didn't have this shit, I wouldn't be able to survive 2020. I wouldn't be able to survive. Well, I want to say I wouldn't. It's just that those are the things that sustain me, that don't put me in a fucking depression. And so I want to be able to have a place where I can cultivate that, a safe place for me to cultivate that kind of content, that kind of creation of Black joy, Black art. There's a lot of people out here, particularly trans people, that are talented as fuck. They just don't have the opportunity, and not the opportunity in, because there's things happening, but I'm talking about there's a lot of gatekeepers in those spaces where they can just incubate their own talent and their own art in a safe place without having to have resources, without having to have, oh, I gotta have some money to come record this song and the studio costs da 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 da. But if I already have that for them, they can just come in and work on it, and not feel like, oh, I got to suck some dick to get some studio time, or I gotta I gotta do some freaky ass shit just because this non-trans or non-LGBT person owns this, and this is I just want it to be a safe place for us. So that's what I am doing the initiative to create, and I hope y'all get what I'm saying. But that is the link to the GoFundMe. If you want to support $1 to whatever, you got somebody else that got some coins to support, go ahead and do it. You're gonna be hearing about this. You're going to be hearing about this as much as I can put it out there. So it's not just about music. It's about, I want it to be about music and about art, a visual artist. So people who want to, like there's this location that I'm trying to get. It actually has not a garage, but like it's not a garage, but it's like an area of the house that I actually want to turn into like an art studio where people who can paint, people who do pottery, people who do whatever you do that's in the visual art sculpture. You'll have a location because, we might have small little fucking studio apartments that we can't do the kind of work that we do in our apartment, but I'll have the equipment for you and the things that you want to do in this location so you can do the artwork at the location. Visual, and we can shift the whole performance area out into a fucking exhibit for your work. So it's just so many things. I just have so many ideas of what I can do with it, but it's revolving around art, revolving around social justice, revolving around changing culture through our joy and art. So yeah, share it, all that kind of stuff. I do have a video of me talking about it that is on the link, and yeah, so there's that. So what time is it? Okay, yeah, so I talked enough to give y'all an introduction about what I got going on. So, what's your tea? What is your thoughts about um, this this kind of massacre? This kind of massacre of Asian women, potentially Asian women sex workers. They haven't really confirmed that. Was it a massage parlor for massages, or was it a massage parlor? There's like tons of implication, but nothing has been really, really confirmed. Not that it matters, not that it matters at all. But yes, you caught me right when I got my sent me. Excuse me, I sent you a few coins. Honored to be able to help a vision of someone I like you. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Um, yeah, I just feel like the white males aren't well. Bars. I feel like they are not well. I feel like um, they are in their anger and violence bag, and because of the culture of white supremacy that is permeating through this country, well, this globe, um, they have created a monster of entitlement, um, a monster of entitlement. When you are used to being on the top of the social hierarchy when it comes to gender, when it comes to race, and there are things that are shifting, that entitlement become exacerbated. And if you are um, and if you are a male, particularly, you know, having what are they calling it? Having a bad day. They said that he was having a bad day. I'm gonna talk about that later about how they're framing the shit. But if you are a white male having a bad day, that exacerbated feeling of um, cultural, personal entitlement can lead to violence. And it's always about race. So this conversation about people are having like, is it racially motivated? It's always white male violence is always about race because of where they are positioned. Even so, for example, that exacerbated feeling of entitlement, just the culture that I just was talking about, just the culture making you feel like you deserve the world. That that entitlement can lead to violence, whether it be violence against a white person, violence against Asian people, violence against everybody. Just that culture of entitlement, you feeling like, oh, I can be the judge, jury, and executioner of whoever the fuck I want to be. That culture of that racist culture that we live in, that sexist patriarchal culture that we live in, lead them to feel that I can just kill motherfuckers. I don't have to divide on a bad day. I don't have to value someone's life, especially somebody that potentially could be a sex worker, especially somebody that is Asian, Black, Latinx, somebody that is beneath me. I can feel like I don't need to consider their life. I don't need to be empathetic. They are nothing because I'm entitled to the feelings. I am entitled to this anger. I'm entitled to having a bad day. And my bad day leads to me murdering 8 people or murdering however many people they have murdered. Now, everybody else can't do that. I'm a Black trans woman. I have a bad day all the time. Every other day, one of my sisters is being murdered. I have a bad day all the time, but I can't go out here shoot and kill because then it's like, oh, the crazy tranny, the crazy Black angry woman. I can't do that. I can't even. I can't. I can't even feel like I can do that. I'm not, see, they feel like they can do it. They feel entitled to it. Because of where I'm set up, I can't feel entitled because my survival is based on community and helping everybody. Like that's just how it is. When you poor and black and blah 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 blah, it's ingrained in you because you know you can't survive without community. And so I can't even feel in a deep way, in the way a white male can do it, to feel I'm so entitled that I can go fucking do that. I remember a time when I was in high school, and that Columbine shit happened, and in my mind I was thinking, not to equate my experience with those buffoons' experience, but I was thinking, I said, what if I'm bullied all the fucking time in this place? I'm bullied all the fucking terrorized in this school all the time. What if I would have did that? What if I come in this motherfucker and shoot everybody up? My mind was like, no, but that would make you a bad person. You can't be like that. Everybody doesn't deserve that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm having these feelings like that. But my own brain is helping me not go down the road of entitled, but I should be protected. Yes, I should. But my brain can't even let me do that. But theirs can. And that's why we see this white terrorism. Because the culture makes them feel like they can do whatever they want to do. That's why we got these corrupt politicians running around. Let me see what y'all say. You know what goes down in those places. Clients have spilled it to me. Yeah, I know there's some, but there's some actual massage places that's ran by Asian people that are not those kind of places. Like it's legit massage places too. So that's what I'm saying. Has it been confirmed that some sex work was going on at these places, or was it what the tea was? That's what I want to know. Was it confirmed? I'll be trying to listen to what the Asian community would like to happen and follow their lead. So that isn't another issue placed upon the shoulders of Black people. Absolutely. I was going to talk about that. Absolutely. It's really sad, but I don't like the narrative the media is putting out there. A white man killed them and they were trying to place this on Black people. Okay. They playing in the Asian people's face, but I'm holding my mule. The initial narrative of the murderer was wild. He's just a sick dude. I don't like the narrative of them being sick because it places the blame on some mental issues. I don't know. I believe that humans have more obligation to be kind and take care of each other. That's why I do my part. um, Hey, Diamond, what's your thoughts on Black people attacking Asians too? Happy ending. I'm half Asian, and trust me, Asians don't care about Black people. Don't waste your time. Always put your people first. Black Lives Matter. Um, so let's talk about that since that seems to be um, so it seems we talked about this during our discussion about Amend. Because in that documentary on Netflix, they talked about some of the racist, oppressive history of Asian people in this country. How, like us, not to the magnitude of us and not far back as us, but how Asians labor and their labor being exploited led to the railroad, the boom in the industry, um, in the industrial era of this country. So black people's labor in the slave trade and cotton was king in the beginning of this country led to it being a powerhouse and getting established. And then that continued to grow and compound and compound and compound. And while that was growing and compounding and still being exploited and da 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 da, Asian people were coming over here as well. And then now they're being exploited in the sense of, through the railroad. And then I recently was thinking about how Latinx with people were getting exploited in the South, just as they still doing it now, just as workers, and really all over the country, not just the South, but as workers. So this system cannot work without all of us. This system, how the system of capitalism, system of white supremacy, it can't. They have to have somebody's foot. They have to have somebody's neck for their foot to be on. They have to exploit workers. They have to exploit all of us. And this is not equating us. This is just kind of making you understand that all of us have been exploited more or less by this system. And I hate to. So that same system, there are people in these groups, there's tons of ethnic and racist, da, 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 da. But there are people within these groups who actually want to align with whiteness. They want to align with the power of whiteness. They want to align with the aesthetic of whiteness. They want to align with everything. Their American dream is rooted in white supremacy. And from my personal perspective, the people who align with that more often in my life have been white passing Latinos and Asians. They seem to benefit the most in that sector. And because of that, when it comes to people who are further from white supremacy, they will adopt anti-blackness and, come into our neighborhoods and exploit us in that same exact way. South Asians, Koreans, Vietnamese, they will come in and exploit our neighborhoods in that same exact way, but give nothing back to our neighborhoods at all. They benefit from that system. So a lot of times when we get to talking about Black Lives Matter and police brutality, you will hear a portion of these groups aligning with white supremacy and talking shit about Black people, pushing Black people out of neighborhoods, gentrifying Black people's neighborhoods. You'll see a portion. Now, I'm not saying all, but just for the sake of this, video, because we're particularly talking about Asians, if you look at Asians, particularly in their political voting history, it wasn't until Gore, prior to Gore, Gore and Bush ran for president in 2000, right? I should have got me some water prepared. It wasn't until Gore that politically Asians flipped. Asians prior to 2000 predominantly voted Republican. Predominantly. So they were skewed towards voting conservatively, voting towards the Republicans. When Gore happened, it was almost half and half, like 45%, 40, both sides 40 something Democrats, 40 something Republicans. It wasn't, that's when it was half. It wasn't skewed towards this side, towards us Democrats and left-winging, more progressive. It wasn't skewed toward that until Obama. So Gore did the flip. Obama did the total push over here to Democrat. So ever since Obama, the Asian community has been skewing 60% towards 60 something, like 63. It just varies back and forth, but averaging 60% of Asian communities are voting towards progressive Democratic candidates. And so ever since Obama. And now they align with Latin folks. Because they're like 64, 65, 65% is going Democratic. But prior to that, Asians was honey conservative as fuck. And then when you get into their culture, the anti-blackness is very clear. Like you talk to any Asian person in the new, particularly like the younger ones, they will be honest with you. Now, back in the day, the older ones might not tell you what was going on behind closed doors. But the younger ones has been spilling all the tea about their anti-blackness. It's very clear, very direct. And for me, it just feels like they all are always, and not even looking out for, they will align with whiteness when it comes to getting their money. But I do see them really just looking out for each other. They will create, baby, you go to any city, you got a Chinatown. They will look out, they will buy a whole little thing and bring their family over and run. They definitely look out for their own. And I can't really get mad at that. I can't get mad at that. But they definitely look out for their own. But what I do know in history, historically, and we're not talking about the whole group because I just explained politically, but what I do know historically is that there is a group in every demographic, like in every one of the race categories, from the time, like back in Black Panther time, from the 60s, from the 40s, from the 20s, there is a group of these Asians, Latinx folks. There is a group, and I'm not talking about a handful, I'm talking about a sector. I don't know how big the sector is that aligned with our movements. If you don't know, Malcolm X actually died in an Asian woman's arms. They have been a part of movements, like when we're talking about like any type of movement, they have been a part of. There's a sector of that particular ethnicity that have been a part of movement. So it's not like all of them, like they didn't have anybody that weren't in our circle of people, because some of them was, particularly the darker ones, it's different, but there's different because colorism is rampant in Asian culture. The lighter Asians also get the privilege of being the lighter Asian and being able to align with whiteness even easier than the more darker ones, like the Laos and the Thai people and the Vietnamese and Cambodians, the ones that are in South Asia, and definitely um, the South Asians like India and the ones that are dark, they definitely can't get into whiteness as easily as the lightest of the Asians, and so particularly the dark ones. There's a lot of times that they align with um, there's a lot of times that they align with our movement. So I don't want to, what my grandmother used to say, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Did y'all people ever say that? Or I'm just country. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Um, yeah, this definitely is not my battle. No, 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 no. I definitely don't think it's our battle to support it as Black folks, um, as Black individuals, because we have a lot going on ourselves and we don't have the capacity. But um, I think we can speak out against it when we just like, we love to be in folks' business. Let's not act like we don't like to be in folks' business. When shit is going on that don't have shit to do with us. We talk about Palestine. Just because it's not us don't mean that we can't talk about it. Now, do we want to go over to Palestine and da 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 da? Maybe not, but you can talk about it. You can discuss it, and I think that that's appropriate. um, because I also feel that it's wrong for you to, for somebody to, particularly a Black person, for us to expect other people to, well, you know how we get on the allies about make space, make room, check your privilege, and give up some of them resources. We can't expect um, them to do that. I'm not white people. I'm talking about other minorities. We can't expect them to do it and we not do it too. Like in regards when it's time to step up and be an ally for them. No, I'm not talking about taking on the burden, but talking about it and discussing it. I think that we can do that without it being impeding on our own personal thing, our own personal fight. But Diamond, they also helped implement the system of white supremacy and enslavement our ancestors on this land a century ago with Europeans. I don't know about help. You got to give me a little bit more detail in what you mean by help. There also we can speak neo-colonism and Africa. Yes, that's a real thing in Africa, but those are not the same lineage. Yes, but Asian Americans, what's happening to them now? That's an irrelevant thing to what's happening to in. But we can we can be against this and critique the current colonization that's happening in Africa and talk shit about that. We can do both of those at the same time. We don't need to say I don't want to support the Asian Americans being attacked in America because they are colonizing in Africa. We don't need to do that. I think that's silly. I actually think that that's a white supremacist way of navigating the world, not pretending like we can't chew gum and run at the same time. I think that's gaslighting. I think that we actually can do both. We can critique the horrible colonization that's happening in Africa and, be against racially motivated, white supremacists attacking Asians because Donald Trump has set a culture in motion. Donald Trump and Republicans have set a culture in motion that leads to this type of violence towards them. I think we can critique that at the same time as neo-colonization. But that's a good point. Yes, true. Just like there was few white people, but yeah. But I think I just feel like we shouldn't be bitter enough to not um there, what's the saying that a lot of people say it, but Fannie Lou Hamer, you know, if we ain't none of us free until we all free. Like I hope y'all don't think that y'all know that it's just gonna circle around. So we can't, when it comes to dismantling this shit, it can't be just us by ourselves. We have to have allies. We have to have people. No, this does not mean we can't critique when some fuckboy shit is happening. This does not mean this. That's why when people are saying this Asian, the making these Asian memes, these little jokes about how they turn a blind eye. Yes, critique the shit. Let them know. When it was happening to us, y'all motherfuckers. Some of your group was turning a blind eye and talking shit and aligning with whiteness. But look, now it's you, because I have heard Asian people saying, look, this is why it all matters. This is why Black Lives Matter. Somebody just said it in the comments here. So it's not always, you can't be bitter to the point where you are becoming your enemy. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can't be bitter to that point. That doesn't solve our problem. Yes, 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 yes. That is her name, Brandon. Kamala's mom came to Black society when she first arrived in the U.S., and she was a high caste Burman. She was marching. Good for her. Um, yes, my folks said that too, but we're country too. Finally caught alive. Hey, Embry Marson, is that how you say that? Marson? Love you too. My question to those groups: what work are they doing within insulated communities to dismantle anti-blackness? So, because I'm an organizer, I meet other Asian organizers. Here in Texas, there is Emmett Schilling. He is the executive director of TINT, which is Texas Education Transgender Education Network of Texas, TINT. He's one. There's one called J Baby. Um, one, two, three, four. I know personally like five here in Texas. I have met tons, like in California, any place that there is a lot of Asian people, you're gonna meet Asian organizers. So, and if you haven't, it's because you're not in movement. If you haven't, you're not in. Like if you're in New York, there's an organizing space. Um, it's tons of people in New York. Tons of people. You just gotta. If you're not in movement, you might not see them because they minding their business and doing movement work. But you're gonna meet Asian people in movement work. And like I said, it's not, that doesn't mean those individuals represent the majority of the whole. But don't think that it's not people that align with you. Um, I think that's where they need to start and direct their attention. Yes, absolutely. There are people who are doing that work. But just like us doing the work around dismantling homophobia in our community and transphobia and anti-blackness when it comes to colorism, that's not an easy feat culturally. Look how hard we still having conversations about light skin. We still having conversations about who is black, who's not black when it comes to Meghan Markle. And it's just repeating every time something like this come up. Imagine uh, look how long we've been talking about that shit and it's still a problem. So even though there's people in there, those particular things, doing that work, it's not we know based on our own community, these are systems that's hard to dismantle. Um, but over time, we just keep passing the torch and it gets better and better and better over time in the hopes. That's what we're hoping. we don't do this work without the hope. We have to have the hope. Um, Personally, don't believe Black people have any allies, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know what rock you live under. If that's what your opinion is, I don't know what rock you live under. I'm a pro black ass bitch, and I center my blackness, but um, yeah, community and allies have came in and saved my life many a times. Saved the project, saved my life, saved. Yeah, if I was just this is being honest to God truth. If I was just dependent on Black people as a Black queer trans woman, I wouldn't. There's a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have. Yeah, that's wild. Mm, yeah, that's just. Uh, I just know that this is a nuanced conversation. Let's see. I'm a registered nurse that works 12-hour shifts. I'm on vacation now. It's my first live. I love your rhetoric and views on so many current events. Thank you, Embro. I'm going to admit some truth. I personally do not support the Black Lives Matter movement only because of the interracial prejudice within our community. I believe it's imperative that we fix us first. What does that have to do with Black Lives Matter? I'm confused. Explain that a little bit more. Um, Raphael Green retracted his message about why is Asian hate in the USA. You sound like you're on a 101 level. So this ain't the place for you. And be the example so that respect and equality we want and deserve be less of an argument. I think once again, I think acting like we can't do multiple things at one time is a problem. Not supporting something because you feel like we have to do something first. Doing one thing first doesn't work. We learned that in the feminist movement. We learned that with colorism. Ooh, let the light skinned people get through the door, or let's deal with the men's stuff first and wait to get the women's. The white women telling the Black women, let's get the white women voting first, and then we'll deal with the Black. That whole come through the door first or do something first, as if we can't do multiple things. Like this is not a multifaceted problem. We have to have a multifaceted solution. It can't be we can do multiple things at the same time. Thinking that we have to do one thing first and not do multiple things at the same time, going in different paces. I think we can do all of that at one time. We don't need to wait for anything. What do you mean by interracial prejudice? I don't know what that means. The prejudice we have against each other. What does that have to do with Black Lives Matter, though? Hmm. I just wish we would get our shit together as a unit. We will never have our shit together as a unit because we are human beings. We are not going to agree. If you're waiting for us all to agree, you're never going to get your goal. If you're waiting for all Black people to be on the same page, you're silly. It is too many nuances. It's religious nuances. It's it's too many sexuality, identity nuance. It's too many nuances in the Black community for us all to agree at one time. We're never going to agree. Never, ever, 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 ever. So if you're waiting to support the Black community, you're saying you're pro-Black, and you're waiting to support a Black movement in the direction against police brutality, because that's what Black Lives Matter is about. It's about dismantling a system of police brutality against us all. If you are waiting to support this movement because you're waiting for all Black people to agree, you are silly. I can't, that's ridiculous. I don't know what you're talking about. That's never going to happen, darling. To accept each other solely based on the fact that we are all Black. That is never going to happen, because we are never going to agree in the rest of the stuff. And some of those things religiously, economically, some of those other identities don't allow us to be on the same page. Do you see what I'm saying? What you have to think about is where do we align together? Where do we align together? So Christian people, you may be against my whole trans ass. But if you're a Christian Black woman and I'm a non-Christian Black trans woman, where do we agree? Can we push forward to get some shit done? That's what we have to do. It can't be I have to come over and convert to Christianity before you actually be in movement with me. That doesn't make sense. That's never and it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I'm never going to wait for the religious Black conservative right, the religious right of the Black community to align with my queer self. That's never going to happen, and it's unrealistic for you to even expect that. But what we can expect is how can we align, and the same conversation can happen with other minorities. The focus of this was Asian folks, because those are people that just got killed in the massacre. I don't need to totally align with Asian people. There are going to be some nuances. There's going to be some difference. There's going to be some different levels of oppression. But where we do align, how can we work together to dismantle where we do align? Because I can't wait for all Asians to be Black Lives Matter. Because if I'm waiting for them all to be like Black Lives Matter, that's never going to happen. If I'm waiting for all Black people to dismantle colorism and stop prioritizing light skin, that's never going to fucking happen. It's never going to happen. But I still have to work with people. I still have to work with people to dismantle. Because I can't wait. You can't wait for everybody to agree, because they're never going to agree. But where we do align, where we can help each other move forward, where it is advantageous for both of us to do it, where does that work? Where does that lie? Yeah, it's never going to be peace and unity, particularly in a country that gives people freedom. Now, when you're in a country that's a dictatorship and you just kind of forcing them to go in whatever way the dictatorship go. But when we have a country there is a blessing and a curse in the country that we live in. The blessing is, quote unquote, if it's running its idealistic way. The blessing is you have the freedom and you can critique your government and you can say what you want to say. Freedom of speech, okay? But the issue with freedom of speech is some people are not going to agree with you and they're going to be vocal about it. They're going to be wrong as hell. And they're going to be working towards something that's wrong as hell. But in this particular country, they have a right to do it. Asians make most of their money in the Black community, still have attitudes towards Blacks. Yes, absolutely. But we can critique, I want to keep repeating this. We can critique the negative nuances of our interpersonal, intercommunity relationships. We can critique that all day, absolutely. But we can also say it is wrong for Asian Americans to be getting murdered by white supremacists. We can say this all at once. If you are saying the Asians are exploiting the Black community to undermine the statement of we should stop Asian hate, then you are the problem. You are part of the problem too. Because you're bringing up this to undermine this, and that's wrong. If you can do both of these at the same time. I want to make that very clear. You can critique how this is, particularly this incident right now, can bring up conversations for us to talk to Asian communities about how are you dismantling anti-Blackness in your community. Because now that you are have they ever came out and said what has happened to Black people is wrong? If you are expecting every single Asian person to come out and say what's happening to Black people is wrong, you are ridiculously naive. That is ridiculous. If you want me to show you Asian people supporting Black Lives Matter, you're gonna find that. If you're gonna, or all over every part of history, Asian people have been here and in our movements. You're gonna find some. But if you're looking for the whole community to have a kumbaya moment and say, oh, what they're doing to Black people are wrong, you are never going to have that. You're never going to have that in the Black community. You got a whole Candace Owens. You don't even have that in the Black community. So it is ridiculous for you to even equate, to even say that. It is ridiculous. You can critique their exploitive relationship to our economics. You can critique that. You can call them out on it. You can say that all the time. But if you are saying it to undermine a statement of anti-Asian violence against white supremacy, you are the problem. You are doing you're doing the divide and conquer shit. Because you can critique them, but if you're doing it when we're talking about anti-Asian violence, then what's the point? What are you doing it in that moment for? What's the point? Isn't that what they are asking from Black people? I don't, also we have to, this is my own, it may be my bubble. I'm actually not seeing Asian people asking Black people for anything. You'll see one or two persons in an argument that Black people, have jumped in. But I'm talking about some Asian person on camera saying, oh, Black people, can y'all help us? I'm not seeing that at all. And please link me if you have it. Please link me to that person, to the Asian person asking Black people to help them. Now, if we're talking about just the general assumption that when we see people attacked, that we should be behind them not being attacked by white supremacists, yeah, I'm asking you to do that. Yes, as a Black woman, I'm asking you to do that. Because I know that we can't let white supremacy go unchecked. Yes, but that's not a whole. You might see one or two. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I haven't seen it. But please link me. I want you to link it because I want to hear the context of what they're asking. Um, but even if you have one person, that's not a whole community asking you for that. But I'm asking you. Let's not even talk about. I'm asking you. You should care about when a white supremacist is attacking a group is a terrorist and attacking a group of people because that same thing is going to happen to you. Not particularly you, maybe, but it just happened to us in Charlottesville, not Charlottesville, in South Carolina when that boy went in there and killed all them black people at that church. And we were asking for allies to look. We were asking allies to say, look, see, this is what happens when white supremacy get out of hand. This is why y'all shouldn't vote this man in. When we're asking them kind of questions, Charleston, Dylan Roof, yes. When we're asking these kind of questions, it's not like we're saying, please come help us. It's pointing at things. Look at what's happening. It's the same thing is going to happen with us. So it does not do anybody any favors, black people or Asian people, to turn their blind eye to a white supremacist killing groups of minority people. So acting like you it's just weird to me for us to act like that's not important. That it's not important for us to totally rebuke that and say that is not okay. Like, okay, if anything, we can relate because of what happened that has been happening to us for 400 years. Well, a lot of those for those years, we weren't. We were actually enslaved, and it was a different dynamic. So supporting them and standing by them is something that would be a no-brainer. Yes, we wouldn't have to ask that. It would be common sense. If we see a motherfucking white man, we know this same white man will do the same to us, attacking Asian sex workers, allegedly, alleged sex workers, not him attacking them. Um, it's just common sense for us to rally against this type of action. I'm really confused by people who are like, oh, I'm not. It really doesn't make sense to me at all. That's partly a issue with us. If I see and feel disrespected at any business, I'm not shopping there. Hell, I'm not shopping there if I just have a suspicion. I know that's right. I know that's fucking right. Another situation where the murderer was coddled. Cops took him to the damn Burger King and brought him a Happy Meal after he was murdered. All those people in that black church. Now, how do we expect people? How did we expect people to respond to um, to the Dylan Roof situation in Charleston? So you people who are like, why are the Asian asking us to help? Or whatever, wherever you got that narrative from, how would you want other minorities to respond to the mass murder of us? How would you want them to respond? They want to be white. Let them Asians deal with their familiars. What about the ones that don't want to be white? What about the ones that align with our political beliefs? Because there are black people that want to be white. Capitalistically exploit us. Do we throw away too? Do we throw the whole race away because of those exploited people? I'm really confused by what y'all saying, y'all. I'm really confused. There's Asian people that don't like white people. We can't voice and want people to understand our oppression without understanding other minorities' oppression. Oppression isn't singularly black. No, no, no. We all have different oppressions. Absolutely. We all have different. But my thing is we gotta stop. It's just like with white folks. Like, I'm not throwing all white people away. Like, I do believe that there are some white people that are doing the work to dismantle the system. There's a difference. I ain't never met one. Oh, I done met a lot. So you got to get out more. You got to get out more. I am surprised y'all are refusing to support POC when they get attacked. Well, suicidal senorita, the problem with the POC people is that a lot of POCs align with whiteness. And so it puts a bad taste in black people's mouth. So if you are surprised that this conversation is happening, I'm not surprised at this conversation because this is a nuanced conversation that I have experienced before. But if you are surprised at this conversation, then that means that you're not in community with black people. And because this is a very common conversation. Because what is happening right now is that we have allies we have people who, like you just talked about, like somebody just talked about, who have the same enemy, right? But they are acting and maneuvering like the white man. And so we can't really know which ones we can trust. We can't really know which ones we can invest our time in helping them when we do got time. And so that's a conversation we all have been having for decades, since the 60s. This is a conversation that happens a lot. So if you are surprised by this conversation, then it makes me believe that you are not in community with black people. It's like the anti-vaccination black people. Like, I can say all day, y'all go get a vaccine. But if I'm surprised by black people being like, ooh, a vaccine, and having distrust for the medical industry, then I don't know the history of this country when it comes to black people and the medical field, because I will understand the distrust. So there is a natural inclination to happen for you to look at POC people and be like, they don't really look out for us. So you might hear me telling people like, yo, we can't be like that. It's not because I don't understand it, because I have been in spaces with Asians who want to be white, who align with whiteness, that will call the police on your ass, the Asian Karens and the Latina Karens. I know those people. So it's not like I don't understand when we have a distrust sometimes, but also because I'm out in the world, I know that there are woke ass fucking Asians that are really doing the workout here. And there are woke ass Latino folks and woke ass Native American people. Just like there's Native American people who align with whiteness. It's both sides of there's, like I said, I just laid out the political percentages. There are six, like when we just the indicator of who they voted for. 60% of Asians voted for Obama and have been voting democratically since Gore. Okay? Latinx folks, 60%. They always in the 60, 64, 65% range when it comes to voting Democratic. So if that gives you a snap picture of the community, you know, 2/3 are going to be aligned with you. But there's going to be that 1/3 that's like, I'm trying to be over here and be white. You get what I'm saying? But like I said, you can't use that little section of negative people, particularly people that you come in contact with. Because a lot of times I'm not even in contact with some of the super aligning white Asian because they in a whole different tax bracket than me. But me being a poor Black trans woman, I align with poor Asians, trans Asians. There are people out here doing the work. And if you're in community and in organizing work, you meet them. You meet them going to lobby every fucking week. Emmett, the executive director here, he's going to Austin and lobbying for our rights here in Texas every fucking week. He a whole Asian man, trans man. And so there's tons. I meet so many of them in California. But these are the places that I travel to. New York. You know what I'm saying? So there's tons of people out here that align with the work that we are doing. But regardless, if you are saying that to undermine that this white supremacist should not went and shot up them people, then you're wrong. We can do both of those things at the same time. We can critique POC people and their anti-Blackness at the same time as condemning white male violence. We can do those things at the same time. We ain't got to wait. Racial issues are regional across the states. In one area where groups may clash, they allies in regions. Ooh, you right, Naima. A perfect example is the Latinx community in New York comparative to maybe Texas. It might be different. The tone is different. And the alignment is different. We can't generalize when we don't want anyone to generalize us. No, it's just not smart. Well, I don't see generalizing just by definition is not saying all. I don't have no problem with generalizing. But I don't think that you, for me, I can make a general statement about a group. Like I can make a general statement about Black men. That generalization doesn't negate that I know that people fall outside of that generalization. I don't think you can make an absolute statement about a group. I think you can make a general statement. About a group. Like, since I'm a trans woman, let me make a general statement from my experience, anecdotal. Not just anecdotal, just, some types. There's been studies and actual surveys. Generally speaking, every trans woman I know has worked at some point in sex work. Now, me making that statement, I know for a fact that there are some trans women in the world who have not been in sex work. I do. I know there's some. Have I met them? No. You stereotyping white males is racist. I'm a black trans woman. You clearly don't understand how racism works. I don't have the power to be racist in this scenario. I don't have the power over white males to be racist to them in this system. So you clearly don't know how racism works and the structure of power in racism. So this ain't the place for you because you're still on a 101 level of understanding how I know it's ridiculous. When you don't understand something, it can be quite ridiculous. It can be quite ridiculous. Would you like me to suggest you some readings? Would you like me to suggest you some readings so you can understand how racism works and how it's a system of power? And in the situation, my dynamic with white malehood, I don't have the power to be racist against them. You're a registered nurse. Okay. Does that mean you don't read? Do registered nurses don't read? I know many of ignorant registered nurse. It sounds like it's one in our chat now. But what does being a registered nurse have to do with you um, not understanding something? You don't understand the power dynamics of racism and the system of racism? You said racist. I think she speaks about vaccination. No. She said that you stereotyping white males is racist. Just saying. Um, I've dated. Oh, because you have dated. You have slept with, dated, fucked POCs. The narrative is getting old. Are you white? You sound white. What does that have to? But what does who you dated have to do with what I'm saying about white male terror in a conversation after yeah, clearly. So you don't get to, you are in a position of whiteness. You don't get to tell me about racism because you clearly don't understand racism. I don't need to look up the definition of racism. I don't need to look it up at all. It sounds like you need to read books on racism. So, anyway, I'm a registered nurse as well. That doesn't mean anything. There's a specific degree in medicine. I know plenty of book smart, and you don't even need to be book. I know some dumbass fucking registered nurses. I'm actually part Native American. This is such a classic conversation. Yes, she's weird. Where's Brandon? Brandon, you supposed to be wearing people out. There we go. All right. There we go. So yes. Yeah, go ahead and block her. Just weirdo. Um, let's make her some cookies. She's part native. We have Elizabeth Warren in the building. Obama got 71 of the Hispanic vote and 73 of the Asians. Yes, we talked about that earlier, William, about them shifting, particularly because this conversation is about Asians, them shifting after Gore. So in the Asian American vote during 2000, it was like half and half. But during the Obama election, they really steered towards us. Previous to 2000, they were usually going Democrat. I mean, usually going Republican. I'm sorry, going Republican. It wasn't until Obama that they started to be to vote in favor of Democrats. The flip happened at Gore. That was like they were like 50-50 there. Why must the ignorant always show their panties? Yes, 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 yes. Where were we at before the troll reeled me in? Um, yes, 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 yes. I do not claim her. But yeah, so my whole point is we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Yeah, sometimes suicidal. I don't have the patience for that. Particularly one-on-one conversations. Like we can like you when you had a conversation when you said something that was um I didn't necessarily agree with, but the way you said it, I get it. Like it makes sense. That you said we have the same enemy. So it makes sense. So let's talk about that nuance. It's not but it shouldn't be surprising to you. This conversation shouldn't be surprising to you that we have a resistance to showing up for Asians, showing up for Latinx folks, showing up for y'all when y'all have on many occasions turned y'all back on us or on many occasions thrown us under the bus. So that is a real experience and that's a real concern. So if you are in community with Black people, you shouldn't be surprised. This is something that we talk about on a constant basis when we talk about allyship, when we talk about um, how allies should show up for us. There is a concern that is a discussion that has been happening since the 40s, 50s, 60s. Like this is if you read the letters from the Black Panther Party, when we talk about it, and not just when it comes to race, when it comes to like queer identities, like literally, Huey P. Newton had to write a letter to tell the rest of the Black Panther Party that we need to be in line with the LGBT community because we have the same enemy. So these are conversations, these nuance in this conversation is something that we have been having. So you shouldn't be surprised that we are having these type of conversations because, like I said, it's like the vaccination conversation. There are Black people who don't want to take that damn vaccination because they don't trust the medical field and they have reason, not because of the racist medical history. It's a whole book called Medical Apartheid that explains these things. So I understand it. I want people to get vaccinated, but I understand when they have reservations about it. I understand it. I'm going to still constantly say, girl, go get vaccinated. But I'm also not going to gaslight them and make them think that they are wrong for distrusting some fake ass allyship. I'm not going to be surprised when they have this kind of That kind of side eye, like, would they do it for us? They want us to come help them. Would they do it for us? And so for me, my job I know people always say, it is not my job to educate you. No, but as an organizer, part of that is my job. And so if I talk to a person who is like, why should I hate Asian? Why should I help Asian people? My job is to say, this is why you should help Asian people, because that is not okay for for a white supremacist to be getting murdered. So, for them to be murdering a group of Asian women at their job. That is not okay. I don't care what the past has told you about Asian people. Blah, 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 blah. It's not okay. Many POCs are like this. Is because many of our countries were colonized. Our colonizers being at the top of the caste system, so everyone under there tends to take on their beliefs and their prejudice. Some of us, yes. And so we're navigating spaces with other POC people. Okay? We're navigating spaces with other minorities. And there are some in that group that align with whiteness, just like Deja said earlier. There are some that want to be white. Thank you, Embry. There are some that want to be white and they're going to align with whiteness. They will call the police on you. They will get you together. They will be racist. They will call you niggers in the same tone that a white Southern man will give you. They will be very, very that. They will be very extra in that sense. Absolutely. But you also have some that know that shit is wrong, that are trying to dismantle systems of racism, that are trying to dismantle systems of prejudice. They are trying to dismantle capitalistic exploitation. There is a group of people in every group that is trying to do the work to dismantle these systems. They are not your enemy. And there are some that are. But you got to figure that out. But you have to figure that out. Our numbers are too small alone. And that's really, if we're talking about the reality in America, our numbers are too small alone. Black people can't move this culture forward alone. When we talk about, look at the Stacey Abrams shit. When they were talking about who was responsible for Biden's election, it depends on where you at. If you go to Georgia, if you go to not Alabama, if you go, but Alabama did flip, get Doug out of that dude out of there, that fucking pedophile out of there. The black women did. But if we talk about Georgia and we talk about Pennsylvania, black folks. But when you talk about Arizona, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a bunch of Latino folk that push that over the edge. Like it's not just one group. Yes, we can talk about how, they're adopting things that we've been doing. We can talk about that, but we don't have the numbers to do it alone. We don't have the numbers to do it alone. None of the groups, none of the minority groups have the numbers to do it alone. But our numbers is growing and we are coming together more and more often. So that's what got these folks shook. That's what got these white folks shook. And so you have to find the people. If you need motivation, you don't have to You know, we got our own shit to do, but I still think we all should be able to say, hey, a white boy going into a fucking massage parlor, multiple ones, and killing Asian women, that's wrong. We all should be able to say that. It shouldn't. I feel weird. I would feel weird if you told me that when you see this white boy, you see the news about this white boy going in this fucking parlor and killing these people, and your brain said, "Oh, oh, the Asian beauty supply be exploiting, um, be overcharging for their hair, exploiting the black community." So I ain't worried about that. What? While that may be true, you really just looked at this nigga, this fool killing all these people, and that's what you went to? Yeah, I'm gonna be like, if you say that to me, I'm gonna be like, you weird, bro. I'm gonna be like, you weird. Like you, I wouldn't trust you as a black person. Yeah, I just wouldn't trust your. I wouldn't trust you because if you can see, if you can't see the humanity of these people, I believe that you are just like them. That's weird. We can have a critique of capitalistic exploitations, but we also should be able to see that they shouldn't be getting murdered and slaughtered. It's like when you saw them putting them babies, them Latina babies, ICE putting them in prisons. Were you saying they don't? The Latino folks don't show up for us? Like, is that what you were doing? Like, you didn't look at that and think that it was wrong? Like, I'm not gonna look at what's happening and people when I see shit happening in Palestine and I see shit happening when we just had the Nigerian what was happening in Nigeria. Like you didn't see that and say that's wrong. I ain't got nothing to do with Africa other than my fucking people being taken centuries ago. But I can look at that and see that that's wrong. I'm not gonna be like, well, the Africans hate LGBT people. They kill them and rape and do conversion rapes and they kill people. They don't fuck with LGBT people. Doo-doo-doo. I think that's fucking stupid. I think it's stupid. While this what I'm saying can be true, that's irrelevant to not see the humanity of this of them being killed and beat and mutilated being fucking wrong. How the fuck are you? I just don't get it. I don't get how your if your brain does that, I don't trust you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Slick. I don't trust you. I don't if that's where your brain goes. Like if we're talking about something that's equal, like if we're talking about let me go let me see what's been said. If you have normal ethics and morals, you should know it's wrong. Absolutely. That just there it just seems like certain things should be like, yo, this that's where your mind should go. Some of us got too much heart to think like that. Yes, you got to some yeah, you got to see people's humanity. I'm sorry. If you don't see it, then it's kind of yeah, I wouldn't be asking to go to the street, but I would making a statement that this is wrong. That's what I would be asking for. I hate it took, and not to undermine it. I hate it took this for them to see our view, but I'm glad they were starting to see it. True. Because of the end of the day, we can discuss the minority unity all we want. White supremacy is still going to wear us all out. It's them today, us tomorrow. Facts. um, do a video on Nas and 6ix9ine. I don't know what you want me to talk about that. We're in the last 30 minutes. So to wrap this up, I'll talk about it. To wrap this up, white supremacy is running rapid. They are in their violent bag. We have seen an uptick. FBI have released that, the most imminent terrorist threat is white males. Um, that's not a stereotyping. That is the fucking truth. When we talk about from Timothy McVeigh to when we talk about terrorist attack on American soil, mass murders and bombings and blah, 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 white men are doing that. That's not a stereotype. That's just what the identity of the person who's doing that fucking shit. And so that is a risk. One day it's going to be Asians. One day it's going to be Latinx folks. One day it's going to be black folks. That's just what's going to happen. And if we can't align with the people who are aligning with us, I don't know what to tell you. We have to be against it whenever it's happening. Does that mean we can't critique when they on some fucking bullshit? No. Critique the fuck out of their ass. Yes. But that don't mean I can say, oh, y'all Asian motherfuckers love to turn a blind eye to us at the same time as saying, these white motherfuckers is going crazy. Why the fuck they go in there and kill them women? Why they trying to do their work? I can say both of those things. Okay. I don't know what you want me to talk about with Lil Nas X and 6ix9ine. I think I already talked about it. Didn't I already talk about that? I know I talked about it on the podcast, but I love Lil Nas X. I think he handled that situation so perfectly. I think that he is a Gen Zer who used the internet brilliantly. I thought that him calling him out in that kind of way was perfect. After he was trying to make that homophobic joke, I thought Lil Nas X handled himself so perfectly. And what's so mind blowing about it is that they don't realize we don't want revenge, just equality. I don't want equality. I want equity. Equality is imbalanced. I don't want equality. I want equity. I want all my money that you owe me. I have two parents. When I look at my ancestry, both of my parents' line go back to fucking slavery, a plantation in Mississippi. Both of them, and I want my motherfucking money. I want equity. I want advancement. That's what I meant when I said I was surprised. I've seen many people rejoicing literally at what happened to the Asian, and it's shocking to me. Um, I haven't seen many. I'm not going to say that you haven't seen any, but most of the black people that I see responding to this are responding in a way in solidarity with Asian folks. They're saying that this is wrong, this is shady. I haven't seen anybody rejoicing, not saying that it's not some random motherfuckers out there that's doing that. But the majority of black people that I hear speaking about this who are leaders in community are rebuking it and condemning it. So I just don't see many people. So when we say many, I just think that is a hyperbole, but it may be many in your bubble of in your community. But in my community and online, when you go to Twitter, when you go to the news, when you go to people who's talking about it, I don't see people rejoicing. Particularly black people. I don't know who else. But I do believe you may have found one or two. But many, you have to show me many. Slicks want access to your private videos to watch the live you did about Lil Nas and Tanashi. Is that what you was asking? Oh, you have to be a member. I have a members only. I have a members. I think it's like $4. I can't personally control the access to it. Let me see. Oklahoma supports commentators that that call the young black girls niggers, speaks volumes. Absolutely. And you gotta call that shit out. And the piece of shit blamed it on his blood sugar. Yeah, you call that out. Don't let them give bullshit excuses. Yeah, what you said. Oh yeah, Slick. So there are members. You just got to become a member. One of my members. I don't know exactly how to direct you to do it, but you just got to be a member. Let me check it out. Email me at diamondstyles@gmail and I'll send you the link. Cause it's new. This is some new partnership that they got going on. I don't know how to explain it. um, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. I think if you go to the video, it'll prompt you to become a member. I think. I'm not 100% for sure. Hey, Serenity. Well, Diamond, let me ask you this lastly. As a Creole man, the ancestors owned slaves and sold them. Should I be embarrassed and ashamed because I have struggled with this? I don't know about, I wouldn't use the language of embarrassed and ashamed. Um, if you are seeing privileges that come from your ancestors um, owning slaves, how are you shifting those resources to Black people in your area? How are you and this doesn't mean I want you to sell your house and you become poor and homeless. I don't want, that's not what I'm talking about. But resources from you benefiting from your family being slave owners. How are you shifting the resources and your benefits that you have right now? Not, we talk about extra, not you taking care of and taking care of your house and da da da. But your extra, whatever's your extra, how are you using that extra to benefit Black communities and grow Black communities in your area? I don't think you should be embarrassed or ashamed. That was the culture back then, um, and you weren't even fucking alive. But being that you are benefiting from those structures now, if you are, how are you shifting those resources equitably? The member feature is not on your page, Diamond. It should be a blue join button besides the subscribe button. When you go to your main page, you might want to look into it. I will do that. Oh, I see. I see. Okay. I have two more steps. I have to announce it and I have to post to welcome new members. Yeah, so I have to announce it, I guess. I will do that. Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. First time here, Diamond. Learn a view from Cat Black. I am subscribed. I'll be back. Thank you. D How. I always like the last name How. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was a high school. It doesn't exist in my in my city. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was called Howe, and I always wanted to go to that school, so I always liked the last name Howe. Isn't that strange? Our family was stood solid on not selling the plantation to the state of Louisiana because we think accepting the money would be wrong. So I really haven't benefited from it. So if you haven't benefited from it, you still should be doing that work in shifting resources. That's what I always tell people. You should be shifting resources. But if you're not benefiting from it, then I mean, how can you push for people who are? People who are benefiting from that system, how can we shift that? What can you do to shift it? Politically, how are you organizations that are supporting that shift, how are you supporting those organizations? So many things that you can do. When we flee Earth and move to Mars, do you think we'll bring racism with us as well? Yes, I do. The only way to heal ignorance is education. And so that's about getting out here and meeting people and getting to know people. Um, and not just self education. There are people who are out here who are willing to educate you. You ain't gotta, it doesn't have to be an alone thing. Now, you don't need to push somebody who is not willing to educate you to educate you. But sometimes people need a little bit more than a Google search. And there actually are people out here who are willing to educate. Um, yeah, it's just you, but you got to put yourself in that position to go find it and go look um, and talk to people and become people's friends and be a part of volunteer for organizations. Well, I'm in Waco. Ooh. Ah, I'm sure some folks. My co-host, my co-host is from Waco. Um, but there's some folks in Waco. You just got to find them. I don't know nothing about Waco, but but it's some folks. Trust me. I I ain't been to no place that didn't have somebody that wasn't doing movement work, even if it's a small group. And uh, and if you won, it can start with you. But definitely, Waco ain't small, small. So it's definitely some folks doing movement work in Waco. Definitely. Um, my my co-host is from Waco. Why don't you study to become a teacher or a politician? Because you good at this. I do feel I'm already a educator. I feel like I'm already a teacher. Or like I go to colleges and lecture. I would never be a politician. Um, I don't want to say never, but I have no right now. Who I am right now, I have no desire to be a politician. Um, but yes, I do. I am a educator now. I'm not in a classroom, um, like as far as like a high school or shit like that. But I do go to colleges and educate, and I also am invited. I just did at North Pacific Lutheran College. I just did a lecture with Dr. Montanique McEachern, maybe like a couple of months ago. I think in December, I think it was. Or no, it was in 2021, January or something like that. Um, Yeah, but I do educate. And I use my platform to educate. Ah, I see my new nails. Aren't they cute? Hmm. The thumb is cute. Super simple. I've been wearing a lot of black and white, so I've been having like really solid primary colors on my in my accessories. All right, we got 15 minutes. What y'all want to talk about in these 15 minutes? Make sure y'all thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. Do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Are you looking for love? I do not have a boyfriend or girlfriend. I am not actively looking for love. Um, I have people that I have sex with to get a nut off when I feel like getting a nut off. Um, that I've been having sex with for like 8 years, but we're not in a relationship. Um, I'm actually focused on my career. I have, if I meet a guy, I don't date women. I don't date women. Um, yeah, I like penis. I could date a woman. For me to be able to date a woman, she would have to be quite amazing at the pursuit of me. Because I'm not just looking at women and saying, "Oh my God, ooh, she's fine." I'm not visually attracted to women, but I know that if I meet a woman that has a desire, I am turned on by people's desire of me. And so if I meet a woman that can masculinely, is that how you say that? If I meet a woman who has a um, a way of pursuing me that reminds me of a man, and she has a great personality, da 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 da. I feel like I could try that out. That has never happened, but I feel like I would explore that territory. I'm not visually. I don't walk out the door and be like, "Damn, she fine." No, never in my life. Um, I have seen like masculine lesbians, like stuff. I'm attracted to masculinity, so if I see something that resembles a man that has a masculine quality about, like Young Ma, those things I can look at. Those masculine things attract me, so I can look at it and be attracted to it. So, but like a femme woman, I can't. Um, yeah. But yeah, so I date men. So I like penis. My sexuality revolves around penis. I like sucking penis. I like the way it feels when it nuts on your face and on your tits and in your mouth, and I love all of that. So taking away the penis, I don't know how long that would be sustaining, but I don't know. um, yes. So yes. So I am looking for, if I was looking for a relationship, if I meet an amazing guy, um, if I meet an amazing guy and he has his shit together, I like people who are financially responsible and self sufficient. I like men who are intelligent. You have to be politically aligned with me. You can't be out here on no hotep shit and you be my nigga. I can't fuck with that. You can't be down low. You can't be. You don't have to be rich, but you have to be. You have to have some type of income coming in that's taking care of yourself. You can't be a financial burden. I'm not going to be a financial burden to you. Um, I am a traditional woman. I think if I'm living with a dude, I think the man should provide. I know that's very antiquated, um, but idealistically, that's what I would want. Um, so I like a dude who is financially responsible. Um, what else? Intelligence, personality. I like you have a sense of humor. I like us to be into the same things. I like not exactly the same things. You can have some shit that you do on your own, but I like us to have some overlapping um, um, common interests so that we can build a relationship where we like each other that does not just revolve around us liking to fuck each other. I like to be able, I want us to spend quality time that don't revolve around sex. Because I've been in relationships where our whole relationship revolved around that we like fucking. And when the fucking got boring, the relationship got boring. When is your birthday? February 28th. I just had a birthday a couple of weeks ago. I am a Pisces. You're a Pisces, and Pisces need partnership. I don't know if I agree with that, but I don't know. I don't feel like I need a partner, honestly. Um, and but that may be because I have built partnerships in other non-romantic areas of my life. So because I'm being fulfilled in the non-romantic sense, the need for a partner may be super, super low. So I have business partners, I have community partners, you see what I'm saying? So I think because I have because I have platonic, non-romantic relationships, partnerships, I may not need the partnership in the same way other people might. Let's see. What is being said? Yes, Marsha's play. Make sure y'all thumbs up. You want one of them aggressive studs. No, I want a traditional cishet man, but I am open to studs. I am open to studs. I am open to um, trans men. Yes, I'm open to cis women who have a masculine, not necessarily a stud, but have a masculine approach to coming at you. You have to be, I'm never gonna shoot my shot. I don't shoot my shot at men. So I'm definitely not gonna shoot my shot at a woman. I will go into the story about how I got tricked by a trans, but that's another show. I got tricked for 8 months work. So Butch enough lassos you. Um, I don't know about Butch enough, but Butch definitely. I'm the same, but I've met women who are strong and have masculine energies, and I've developed feelings for them in the past. The person overrides the sex organ for me. Maybe so. I'll give it a try. Thank you, Embry. I'll give it a try if it comes along. Um, I think she might have to do a separate live for murder or moment. Yes, because of I have to do some current event, and so I didn't want to ignore the Asian conversation because I knew it's a very nuanced conversation. So I will do that. Maybe Sunday night or Monday night. I'm not 100% for sure. Maybe Sunday night. Um, if you haven't watched our podcast, I talked about Kurt Franklin on our podcast this week, and his toxic relationship to his son. So if you want to hear my opinion about Kurt Franklin, our current episode that came out yesterday. We do an episode every Thursday on all streaming platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, everywhere podcasts are. You can find us. iHeartRadio, Pandora. We were on Pandora before anybody else. We could not before anybody else, but before any other trans podcast because we were invited before they opened it to everybody. Now everybody is on it, but we were on it a year before everybody else because we were invited. Um, Shelby Warren. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like you, I find myself attracted to anything masculine, regardless of gender. Not that labels matter all that much, but perhaps we both androphiles. Yes, definitely that. We are similar in that regards. Yes, I'm definitely attracted to masculinity, but penis has a particular attraction as well. Can you do a cover of John Lennon's Imagine? Imagine there's no heaven. I don't know what's the words. Imagine all the people living for today. I don't know the word. They say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I don't know the rest of the words. I actually don't like that song. So I doubt that I'll do a cover. But but yeah. I am doing a cover of Snow Patrol's Chasing Cars. Recently I am recording that. I am doing a cover of From the Moment I Wake Up, before I put on my makeup, say a little prayer for you. I'm doing a cover of that. I have a new song that I wrote. I think it's not going to be a song. It's going to be a full song that I'm gonna put out, but it is. If you follow me on SoundCloud, I put music out on SoundCloud. I have a new song that I'm working on, but I think it's going to be new intro music for my podcast. But people like my intro music so much that I'm scared to switch it up. But I might switch it up to where I'll keep my old intro music. It will be all right. It will be all right. My intro music for that, and keep that on the regular show where it's me, Mia, and Z. But then when I do interviews, I use my new music. Yes. Let's see. Thank you for saying correctly. Yes, I think that's how you say it. People do be bad out here. I'm glad I said it correct. Good. I went to camp with Carry On, and it's sad. Oh, you know some tea? Because his mother, Carry On's mama, spoke out against him. He was like, "You weren't." His mama said, "You wasn't abandoned. What are you talking about?" Did you hear the audio that just came out claiming that Kurt molested the son? I don't understand. I didn't know if that was just people being extra. I heard it, but it was on a site that looked like it was shaky. So I just kind of, what was that tea about that? It wasn't on a reputable site. So I was like, I'm not gonna even. I felt like they were just trying to be extra. Um, Melodies from Heathens, yes. And you went to fucking yes, God, honey. These Christians out here you're not under the same standard. That has been going on with them since we were 9. I know. He would talk shit about his daddy when we were at summer camp together as kids. Agreed. And she would say, if people only knew the devil inside him. Oh, I believe him. If you ever want to do a duet, I'm down. I play piano and organ. Come on, Hammond. The B5. Is that what it's called? The B5? Yes. Would you ever come to the UK? You have fans here. Yes, I actually was planning to come to the UK before this corona shit happened. My goal was to come to the UK in the late summer of 2020. But because the corona shit happened, stupid. But I do want to come out there. But I actually want to organize an event or something. So I'm not just coming out there like, doo-doo-doo. I want to actually do something while I'm there, but I need people who are willing to, you know, help me with that because I don't know anything about the UK. And then when I ask people, they be acting like, I don't know, the community in UK, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on with y'all, particularly the trans community. I know like two that's real cool. Um, but yeah, I'll try to get it. I'll try to get there. All I know is what I heard. The Kurt money is long. Yeah, people can be paid to be silent, and we will never know the full story. Yeah, we will never know. But I know that, honey, church folks ain't shit. So this whole campaign that they going on, child, you better go on. But all right, it is. It has been 2 hours, so I'll probably be back either Sunday or Monday night, always around 7:30. And we will talk about murder in more murder amongst Mormons. So if you haven't watched it on Netflix, Murder Amongst Mormons, we are going to be talking about that on my next live. And then we'll go from there. I will see y'all later. I'm going to have to come give you a hug when you get here. You've been a fan from afar. Thank you. London was so nice when I went. I would like to go back. Eventually, I heard London was nice. I heard the food was gross. Buckingham Palace is small as hell in person. I was shocked because they make it look so big and grand. Please do Sunday. I'll be at work Monday night. Okay. It depends. I have to see what my schedule is because I think I have an event on Sunday, but I don't think it's at night. But I'll have to check. I'm not for sure. I have an interview. So much stuff. But I'll try to do it Sunday. I'll keep that in mind. We'll come to Waco before London. Baby, I will never go back to Waco. Waco was so boring, and though it was too many police out there. I went to the fair. I went to the fairgrounds at Waco, and with the rides and the food, I went to the Waco Fair and had a fun time. But I won't be back. It was a one time deal. Good night, Coco. I will see y'all Sunday or Monday. Be good. Mwah. Make sure y'all thumbs up.